Good evening. I'm going to state the obvious right off the bat. It's hot. I mean, hot. Proper sweaty, sticky, hot. I'm sat in my car, obviously. Katie's got stuff to talk about. She has to do it in her car. I'm sat on my sister's drive. I could have done my review from the cinema car park, but I didn't. I'm just going to adjust my camera angle slightly, bear with. There we are, that's a bit better. I am dressed. I know it looks ever so slightly like I'm naked, but I'm not. And as for the hair and the face and all that sort of stuff, I can't do anything about it. It's about 27 degrees. I'm northeastern. I'm not built for weather like this. Now that we've got all the preamble out of the way, let's talk about yesterday. Not Friday, as in the film, yesterday. This has been heavily advertised, so I'll be surprised if you don't know a little bit about it, but just in case you don't, let me give you the overview. Singer-songwriter Jack Malik is going nowhere fast. He's trained as a teacher, but what he really wants to do is write music and play it and sing. And he's got a good voice and he can play guitar, but his songs just aren't enough. And he's one of millions of, singer-songwriters busking and gigging around his local area trying to make it big, and it's not working for him. The only person really that believes in him is his friend and manager, Ellie. But he decides one night after another fairly duff gig that enough is enough. He's going back to teaching and he's given up on his dream. And then there's a power cut. And I don't mean the lights go off for a couple of minutes locally. I mean there's a global power outage. Who knows what's caused it? Solar flare, whatever. But the entire world goes dark for 12 seconds. And in those 12 seconds, Jack, who's on his bike, gets hit by a bus. And when he comes to in the hospital, well, he's lost some teeth and they've shaved his beard, and yeah, he's not in great shape, could be worse. He was hit by a bus, he's alive. He gets out of hospital, and his friends, as a way of cheering him up, give him a new guitar because his guitar was on his back on his bike when he got run over. And he plays Yesterday. And they're all wowed. Oh my goodness me, women have got tears in their eyes. When did you write that? I didn't. The Beatles did. The Who, not the Who. Who? The Beatles. John, Paul, George and Ringo. Blank faces, quick Google. Oh my god, the Beatles don't exist. That's the premise. Now, it's ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous that there could be a global power shortage and the world forgets the Beatles. But that's the premise that this film stands on, and if you can't go along with that, you're screwed, basically. You have to just go with it. Suspend your disbelief, okay? So that's where we're at, and all of that happens pretty quickly. All of that's also given away in the trailer, and it moves at pace. So you meet him, duff gig, power cut, run over, comes to, Yesterday, all my troubles seem so... I've just sung and played weird air guitar as well, and that's that. So he's the only one who remembers the Beatles. So what's to stop him passing all those classic songs off as his own? Nothing. That's the answer. Nothing stopping him. So that's exactly what he does. Now, I won't go much more into the plot. Again, the trailer gives away quite a bit, which is a shame. So let's talk about the performances. In the lead of Jack Malik is an actor called Himesh Patel. Some of you will recognise him as Tamwa from EastEnders. He played that role for a good few years. This is one of those what you'd call a star-making role because he really is superb. Does all his own vocals, plays the guitar and the piano, and he's got such a lovely voice. And his performance, his delivery of these songs that we know so well is magical, and it's just the right amount of homage but a fresh twist. And you've got to remember the rest of the world doesn't know these songs, so he puts ever so slightly his spin on them, and yeah, the world just falls in love. And why wouldn't you? These are the songs of the Beatles. So he's superb. Ellie, his manager slash friend slash secret admirer, is played by Lily James, who is beautiful. She's a very unusual looking creature, is Lily James, almost alien but not in a bad way. She's got an exceptional face. and she just gives the right amount of sort of warmth, and her belief in Jack is so lovely to see. And then there's an assorted cast of friends and, you know, people who hang us on and all that sort of thing. Special mention to the couple who play Jack's parents, real life couple, Sanjeev Bhaskar and Meera Syal, are just glorious. Their son is becoming the biggest pop star in the world. He's performing these songs for the first time, and they're so not dismissive in like a bad way. I mean, it is bad, but they just don't get it. They don't. He's so frustrated because he's like, hang on, these are the greatest songs in the world. They're like, all right, big head. And that's what a lot of his friends are like, yeah, all right, they're good songs, but they play his mum and dad, and they are just glorious. They're so British and a little bit awkward, and they don't really get it, and they are just two of the best that we have, and it's really lovely to see them playing a couple on screen as well. One of the characters that must be mentioned is Rocky, played by Joel Fry. If you've ever seen the TV show Trolleyed, it was a Sky One comedy. I think it had 3 seasons. It is gold. It is magic. I absolutely loved Trolleyed. It was superb, and I don't think enough people saw it. And Joel Fry played Leighton in the first couple of series of Trolleyed. It was set in a supermarket, and he was just the lovable idiot, and that's clearly his shtick. Awkward, lovable idiot, which he plays to great effect here. He sort of becomes Jack's roadie, sidekick, and it's one of those sort of Richard Curtis staples where you have this token best mate, sort of comic relief figure, but they're so endearing at the same time. And I'm thinking of the Rhys Ifans character in Notting Hill, and there have been others which I can't recall right now, but you get this sort of best friend person who provides a lot of the laughs. Ed Sheeran's in it. He plays himself really well, and you might dismiss that and go, well, he's Ed Sheeran, how could you make an arse of playing Ed Sheeran? But people have played themselves and done it badly, and he's actually very natural, very believable, adds a sort of a realism to what's ultimately quite a fantastical story. I say again, power cut, world forgets the Beatles. Yeah, but you just go with it. So Ed's very good. James Corden makes an appearance as himself. Did I like it? I did like it. I liked it a lot. I didn't love it, and I always say this, don't I? I can't pinpoint why. It is warm and it is sweet, and it really celebrates the music of one of the most iconic bands in musical history. And there's arguments for, would today's audiences respond the same way to those songs? Were they not of their time? But when you hear Jack perform them, and like I say, they're not exact karaoke copies because he can't listen to the originals. So he spends half the film trying to remember the lyrics to Eleanor Rigby because he can't go and Google them because they're not there. So yeah, there's a sort of like I say, a magic to them, the way they're reimagined within the film. It is absolutely charming. It's very Richard Curtis. It's not directed by Richard Curtis, it's directed by Danny Boyle. He of Trainspotting and Shallow Grave fame and Slumdog Millionaire and 127 Hours. So again, you've got greats. You know, you've got one of our best directors we've ever produced as a country. You've got one of our best writers, although I think it is co-written, and I don't know the co-writer's name, so now I feel terrible. And it is charming, and it is fun, and it's light. I got moist eyeballs at one point, but no actual tears, whereas Toy Story 4 last week literally had me bawling my eyes out. But as a celebration of the Beatles' music and friendship and not giving up on your dreams, and how does it feel to get everything you want, and maybe it is everything you want, for that reason, it is wonderful, and I definitely would recommend going to see it. So yeah, that was yesterday, and big up the Beatles. Did I really just end on that note? Apparently I did. Nearly 10 minutes long. I need to bail out and I'm sweaty. I need to get out of this car. Thank you for listening as ever. Like the video, share the channel, subscribe. Keep people finding me. I'm on 59 subscribers at the minute, and I'd love to pick up a 60th. One day I might even get to 100, who knows. Thank you for putting with my spotty face. Thank you for tuning in. That was my review of yesterday. This is Katie in a car saying bye for now.